A Fort Worth doctor and medical missionary treating Ebola patients in Africa is now a patient himself, and he is in grave condition. Friends and co-workers say Kent Brantley is terrified.
Terrified, but they say he does not regret his choice, and he says he's not giving up hope.
Good evening, Clarice. A fellow doctor here at John Peter Smith Hospital talked to Dr. Brantley in Africa this afternoon by telephone. He says his friend is not in critical condition, but seriously ill. The prognosis, he says, is grave.
I got off the phone with Kent about 30 minutes ago. I am amazed at his resolve, at his strength in the time of this crisis and what he's facing.
Dr. Kent Brantley trained under his friend and colleague Dr. David McCrae at John Peter Smith Hospital before leaving last fall on a 2-year fellowship to Liberia, arriving before the recent Ebola outbreaks that have killed more than 100 people in West Africa. Brantley and another American missionary there, Nancy Wrightball, have now contracted the extremely deadly virus.
Dr. Brantley and Nancy Wrightball are both in isolation separately on the compound of Elwa Hospital in Monrovia, Liberia. They had a difficult night last night.
Melissa Strickland is with the aid group Samaritan's Purse. We spoke to her by Skype.
It is a very dangerous situation in Liberia right now. The outbreak is spreading. It is horrifying. It's a terrible disease. I couldn't say we're confident. They're not out of the woods yet, but we are hopeful.
Dr. Brantley's wife and children left Africa for home last weekend for a family wedding.
His family was not exposed and are not at risk. I spoke with his wife this morning, and they're doing very, very well.
Southside Church of Christ in Fort Worth is Dr. Brantley's church home, and where he and Nancy Wrightball are now the subject of fervent prayer.
He was very adamant with the folks that have talked to him that we be sure and include her in our prayers as well. He's concerned about her because he really does care more about other people than he does about himself.
By all accounts, Kent Brantley has long been determined to give his life to medical missionary work. His current battle, say those who know him, will simply serve to shine a light on that commitment.
On behalf of the 6,000 people that work at JPS, one, I couldn't be more sad, and on the other side, I couldn't be more proud of an individual like this.
Dr. McCrae had a statement from Kent Brantley that the gravely ill doctor asked that he share.
I'm praying fervently that God would help me survive this disease. Please continue to pray along with me and pray for my friend Nancy, who is also very sick, and for the doctors who are taking care of us. Thank you all so much. Peace, Kent.
Dr. Brantley was serving on staff at the hospital in Monrovia, basically doing family practice stuff like delivering babies until the recent Ebola outbreak some weeks ago. He was asked to set up an isolation unit for Ebola patients, and he told his friends here in Fort Worth that it was very difficult work and that he was working very long and demanding hours. Clarice?
Amazing dedication there, Richard. Do we know how Dr. Brantley and Nancy Wrightball contracted Ebola?
Well, both the doctors here at JPS and the folks with Samaritan's Purse tell us that they are very confident that Dr. Brantley and Nancy Wrightball were extremely vigilant about the protocols and the guidelines that they're supposed to use, that they're confident there was no breaches in that. But this is such a highly contagious disease, and it may be very difficult to determine just exactly how they got it. But Clarice, you can rest assured that that's an investigation that is ongoing now.
And certainly there are lots of prayers for both of them. Richard Ray live at John Peter Smith Hospital in Fort Worth. Thank you.